me, Lorin Rose again. I'm here to talk about my candidacy for town supervisor. I filed my paperwork, spent a little more time at the Board of Elections. It's educational, I'll give it that. Some of the questions I've been asked, one of them is about my experience, what makes me think that I can be a good town supervisor. Run in construction crews. I've run 11-man crews, and when you work in construction, you get some interesting characters, and you got to get them all to move in the same direction. So I'm pretty good that way. Grew up with everybody basically that works for the town, or if I haven't grown up with them, I've become friends with them, and I think there's a mutual respect between us all. I don't claim to know everything, to have every answer for every question, but I have surrounded myself with good people throughout my life, and I don't intend to change that. I've been getting a lot of input from people that I talk to. I as much listen to them as I do talk to them, and I'm very encouraged. There's an awful lot of people that are looking to support me any way they can, and I always tell them, I said, well, you know, helping me getting elected is one thing, but you got to help me after I get elected too, because that's what the town really needs, is everybody kind of working together, focused together. As far as getting more public input into things, went to a meeting that Jay Wank had at the community center the other night, and I thought it was a very good thing. For the most part, people were there bringing in good ideas, or at least what they believe to be good ideas. I think something like that should happen on a regular basis with as many of the town board members as choose to show up. I'd like to try to do something like that maybe every other week. I mean, that might wear a little long on everyone, but to have a forum where people could just come in and say what they want to say, bring their ideas to the table, where we would listen to them. Now the system with the public be heard, where everybody gets 2 minutes, that's not enough really to express an idea, if you have an idea. And there's a lot of people that have done the work, and they have the statistics and stuff to back their ideas up, and you can't really put that out there in 2 minutes. But at the same time, if you can't have every town board meeting go on till 3 or 4 in the morning because everybody wants to bring in ideas. So if you had another forum just for that, I think that would be, I think it's the germ of a great idea, and I don't pretend to take credit for it because Jay Wank did it first, but it worked. I mean, you have some people that are there just to listen to themselves talk, and you're going to have to put up with that. That's probably going to be the toughest part of my job if I get elected, but in general, a lot of people were there sincerely with the best interest of the town at heart, and I was uplifted by it. I thought it was a great thing. People have been asking me about honoring the 2% tax cap. I would absolutely love to do that. I mean, I've been a taxpayer here my whole life, and I've recently gotten rid of property that my family has held for years, partially because the taxes on it just got too high. It was a luxury, and we couldn't afford the luxury anymore, basically. So I don't know what kind of mess I'm going to be handed in the budget financially, but so I can't actually, I'd be lying if I said absolutely 2% my first year, but I would certainly shoot for that, and I think that we could trim it down to where doing it in my second year, I don't see why not. And I truly believe that we probably could do it the first year, but I'm not in the habit of telling people things that I'm not sure I can do. So yes, I'm totally in favor of it and would do my best to do it. Will I promise that I can do it? without looking at all the figures, without even seeing what the budget that I'm going to be handed and have to work off of what they do to the reserves. I cannot, nobody in their right mind would promise that, in my opinion, but I will do my best on it. So I get to make two budgets, but I have to live with their budget for my first year. But you can certainly not spend the money that they're spending in places where it's just not necessary, and they're not getting any value back for it. And it's just to do the amount of drawings on the town hall it's just crazy. It's what I do for a living, and that's how come it just enrages me, or almost enrages me. We can do something in that building to get the police department out of the closet, because that's something that has to be done for them, and make the court more workable, make it a safer environment. They need a metal detector or whatever. We can work that out without spending $1 million. If you hang another $1 million in debt on this town, if the numbers I've been hearing are correct, the payment on that bond is two people's salary for a year, every year. And I don't think we need to do that right now. I think we need to tighten the ship. And to me, $1 million, I built my house here as I went along, and I have a clear understanding of what it takes to do this and that, and what we can afford to do now and what we can't afford to do now. We can afford to get them out of their little police closet down there. We can afford to put up some curtain walls, get them more room, even if we put everything together with a screw gun, so that if the money's flowing later and we can do a big makeover on it, if that's what the people decide they want to do, we won't have lost any ground. We will spend a little bit of money to solve the problem for now, and then we can take our time on the decision once we make something workable in there. So we gotta go with what we can afford now, and so that's kind of it on the budget. I'd like to talk a little. Another question I've been being asked by a lot of people is about the zoning laws and it being rewritten. And it astounds me that they set up a committee to rewrite the zoning law, and nobody from the planning board or the zoning board of appeals, the two groups that actually implement the law and deal specifically with the law, no member from either one of those boards is on that committee. And they said, well, we send them stuff to look over, but that's such a narrow little vision. All they get to do is look at what they have already written and sent to us. It seems exclusionary and opaque, and it almost seems like they're trying to hide something. And town government is not a secret. Everything, people shouldn't have to foil for anything, because if it's public right, it should be on a website where they can just go download it. And people say, well, it's a lot of work to put it on a website, which it would be to start with, until you get to the point where you're just putting it on as it comes along. But it's going to save work for the clerks that have to go find all this stuff when somebody foils for it. If they can just download it, it's going to save a lot of time and energy for town employees, and in the long run, it's going to save money. And like I say, the town government is not a secret. It shouldn't be a secret. The more people you have looking at something, the better off it is for everybody. I mean, don't shut somebody out because you don't like them. You know, you don't have to kiss them on the lips, but if they got a good idea, you ought to listen to them. And the last thing I want to do is give a shout out to JoJo. I spoke with JoJo last night down at the farmer's market, and JoJo and I are running for basically the same reasons. So I sympathize with JoJo. I had a conversation with the powers that be down at the Board of Elections the other day, and sadly, Jojo, our political system is monospecific, only one species. Perhaps someday we'll be enlightened enough to welcome other species into our political process. I don't see where it could really hurt anything. But you can take heart in the fact that Mark Twain said, if heaven operates on merit, you'll wait outside while your dog goes in first. So, don't take it too hard, Jojo. We'll talk to you later.